Recovery and Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail. Hey everybody, welcome. It's so great to have you tune us in and turn us on the Dr. Pat Show. This is Talk Radio to Thrive By. Just wondering how everybody's doing out there. We're going to be talking about one of my favorite and least favorite topics, both at the same time, like together. Favorite, least favorite, like together. Both of them right there together. But I'm not going to do most of the talking. Brittany Miles is going to do most of the talking. She's my very special guest today. But before I get into that, hello, Mr. B.
Hi, Pat. How are you doing?
Pretty good today. Pretty good today.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm just waiting for the sunshine to pop. I have got to do a little things, moving things around. I don't know. You did the weather today. What is it?
Yeah, it's going to clear out, and it's going to be a nice middle of the week.
Starting this afternoon, maybe?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. Why is that even a thing? Well, Brittany and I both live in the Pacific Northwest. It's a thing. It's a real thing. Benny lives in the Pacific Northwest. It's a thing. But sometimes you know you are not changing the weather. You may hold consciousness or you could pray for it, but there is a point of surrender. If you are going to live here in the Pacific Northwest, PNW, here, this beautiful place, then there is a surrender that has to happen around what you think you want to happen with the weather. And I learned that, took me a number of years. But how about the rest of your life? What do you also need to look at with the power of surrender? What does that look like? What does it feel like? Every single one of us has had points in time. Let me say most of us have had points in time where you are looking at your life and you have tried every concoction of what you think it would take to move forward, to trudge ahead, to literally look at one more push. If I could just give it one more push, but no, wait a minute, maybe I got to go in this direction and that direction. And then you don't, and then you can't. And today, you're going to hear about what the long and winding road may look like for my very special guest today, Brittany Miles. You're going to hear about how that long and winding road, how the path of surrender takes you to the place, as she is, that place of going through life and now sharing what she has learned with others in her coaching platform. You get to talk about, think about, read about, learn about how you move through this world, successful person, someone that understands what it means to carve out a career, and then also look at, wow, that's not going to be it for me. She and I have that in common. But then all of a sudden something happens. Your life takes an unusual turn. And you ask yourself, now what? Me? I did this yesterday. I said, God, really? Seriously? That's what happened to my friend? But today, the power of surrender is all about Brittany Miles. Mm-hmm. Brittany, great to have you.
Thank you for having me today, Pat. I'm super excited to be here.
This is, I'm not kidding when I say it's my both favorite and least favorite things to talk about, and especially to look at in my life. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about where this starts for you, how the power of surrender has become a thing for you. Given everything I've said about you, given everything we've just talked about, I would love to know what challenges, what obstacles have you had to overcome to bring you to this very moment? Because this very moment is about being on the show, but it's
Mhm.
also the host of a new show, Miles
Mhm.
to Go. We're going to talk about that. How to lose to gain it all.
Mhm.
But for you, do you have to do a few high hurdles?
Well, there's an expression that I think a lot of Black mothers use. A hard head makes a soft behind.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So I had a very hard head and my behind was raw. And the mother in this case was the universe. And 2016, I think, illuminates this very clearly. So if the listeners are familiar with the tarot, there's the Tower card, which everyone is afraid of because it has a picture of a building burning on fire and people jumping out of it to save their lives. And that's what happened for me. So with the Tower card, if you don't make a change, the universe will make the change for you. So again, I had that hard head. In 2016, I wasn't able to find work. I was a technology professional. There was nothing wrong with the economy or job opportunities in the Northwest. My skill set, couldn't find a job to save my life. My house was going to go into foreclosure because I couldn't afford to pay my mortgage. And I was desperately holding on to that. I was holding on to a lot of old relationships and old anger and frustrations and bitterness towards family and friends. And I was holding on to that. But in 2016, the universe made it all come up into my face day by day, week by week, month by month. And I slowly realized that I couldn't hold on to certain things. First, it started with the physical. I lost the house. And then slowly, I realized that I had to let other things go. And there's a little bit more to the story, which I'm sure we'll get to.
When we think about these things, right? And I was thinking about this after speaking with you yesterday. You and I chatted yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I was thinking about in my life was how often I had to go through the experience you just described, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look, you and I probably could sit down and write a book on what our mama said to us,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we both have questions or we both have sayings that have been passed on to us either by real birth mamas or by just mamas, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one I like that we grew up with as kids and none of us had a clue what my mom was saying. You make your bed, you sleep with it, honey. You make your bed, you sleep in it. And as
Mm-hmm.
kids, you're thinking, of course you do. What the heck are you talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that is in essence part of what you're sharing.
Mm-hmm.
You're sharing a story of not only what you learned, but what you lost. And I want to ask you this question. All of that, right? How did that lead you to the pathway of becoming a healer?
Sure. Well, I always knew I was a healer. When I was a small child, I always knew that there was something I was supposed to be. As a small child would think, you think you're going to be famous, and that's what I thought, but that dream died. But I had always great compassion for others. Grew up Catholic, and I always thought that we were supposed to help people. And I found that I lost that, but then later gained it through surrender, where you have to have an open and healing heart, and the compassion that you need to have, you should have it for others, but you need to have it for yourself. And that was like the big aha, right? It's the loving kindness and compassion that you have for yourself. And then you start to realize that once you have it for yourself, then that's something that you can share with others. I also have this uncanny ability, maybe it's something in my aura, where folks just tend to open up and tell me their stories, and I'm able to share my knowledge, whether it be great or small. And I've had people come back to me, sometimes coworkers, sometimes just friends, family in the past, that would say that one thing that you said really changed my, like, turned on a dime for me. So that's when I realized that was my special sauce, and that was the thing that I needed to do, which was always to lead with my heart. And I'm sure you learned this too, Pat. You grew up in New York, fellow New Yorkers, like, you got to stay hard. There's lots of crazy out there. You got to be able to rock and roll and just move through life. And that's not who I am. I'm just super soft and kind. And once I allowed myself to surrender that hardness, my heart could beat and be full.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I learned for sure is that, growing up on the East Coast, and especially as a young child in New York, one of the things I love about the culture is that you do develop this outer layer. But what I also learned is it doesn't change what's on the inside. And I think a lot of people right now are the people that are tuning in, they are totally addicted to what is my Governor Cuomo of New York fix today. And I've asked myself this question, right? If you come from a place like that, you kind of take it for granted that the guy is just going to speak his deal.
Mm-hmm.
But there's an attraction to that level of directness, that level of sharing, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a sidebar about him that is exactly what you talked about, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
this sidebar about how layered he seems to be.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, what you just described is what's on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
What's on the inside. And when we come back from break, I want to talk with you about this thing that's on the inside of you that pulled you forward to say, yes, I want to bring my message to the world. I want to bring my message to my own show. But you had to go through something deep to get that clear. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back, everybody. The power of surrender with Brittany Miles. And by the way, we are taking your questions if you have them. 1-800-930-2819. We'll be right back.
Boys seem to like the girls who laugh at anything, the ones who get undressed before the second day. Girls seem to like the boys.
Are you ready to put down that drink or drug for good? Are you struggling to maintain your recovery from addictive behaviors? Do you need help with a family member or loved one who's in early recovery or battling addiction? Get the help and guidance you need by arranging a Recovery Recharged phone session with me, Ellen Stewart, Pushy Broad from the Bronx, certified life and recovery coach. Call 1-800-889-1757. Make an appointment today, or go to my website, pushybroadfromthebronx.com, and click on the link that says Recovery Recharged. Don't wait. Get the help you need today. This is Ellen Stewart, Pushy Broad from the Bronx, on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Tired of not losing the weight? You need a healthy solution for weight loss that protects your muscle mass as the fat burns away naturally. Holistic Medical Center has the healthy option for your weight loss concerns. Lose 1 to 3 pounds per day in 21 days, naturally, under our physician supervision. Call Holistic Medical Center 425-451-0404 or on the web, drdarvish.com, drdarvish.com.
What we've been taught and told is not all there is. Life is all about energy, and the energy you feel is real. Tune into the Energy Paradigm each month on TransformationTalkRadio.com with Dr. Vic. The Energy Paradigm is an eye-opening, mind-shifting, transformative, and earth-shattering way to live, work, and do business that will enable you to unlock your magic every day. Visit theenergyparadigm.com.
Did you know that all of the shows on the Transformation Radio Network are available as podcasts to stream or download?
Really?
Check us out. Go to transformationradio.fm. We have business shows, spiritual shows, energy healing shows, and pretty much everything in between. Something for everyone, guaranteed to inspire, educate, and transform. We are transforming the world, one listener at a time.
Do you sometimes feel overwhelmed by your mind? Powerless when it seems to spin in worry circles or bombard you with self-critical thoughts? Do you want to learn how to master your mind and feel more in control of your life? Listen to Dr. Friedman's Empowerment Radio. Shift from confusion to clarity, self-doubt to confidence, and from anxiety to peace and balance. Dr. Friedman and his many guest experts share the insights and tools you want to live with greater ease, joy, and purpose. Tune in to Empowerment Radio every first and third Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time.
But your heart's on fire too. So, my darling, please surrender.
Benny, seriously, thank you.
I couldn't help it.
Very nice. I was like, wow.
Thank you. Bow. I bow, since everyone can see me.
Oh my gosh. So Brittany, you may not know this. Benny and I have been together since day one of doing my show like 16 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
I know. It's really quite a journey. And
Hence that long pause in between right there. That
was
did you catch that too? Yeah, I did too, Brittany. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, just imagine a couple that is together that long. Now imagine a couple being together that long that work together. Now imagine what that's like, the ups and downs and ins and outs. But guess what? We're still here today to say, dude, I still love you. That's what counts. Wow. Brittany, look, before we gonna kind of dig into this a little bit about, what I like to call the power of surrender. You're going to talk about that a little bit. How do people find out more about you?
Sure. You can go to miles2togocoaching.com. And that's where you can find me. You can book, you can read blogs, you'll be able to see my show page, and you can get to me that way.
Awesome. And the other thing is you can actually work with Brittany too, right? I mean, when you go to the website, you're going to see a lot of information. Really cool. This is a time really to not just think about and talk about surrender, but it really is a time to investigate it. It is a time to really absorb it. It is a time that for most of us, Brittany, when we think about it and we think about what we've gone through in our lives, surrender is the thing that's very hard to put words to and then allow us and enable us to do something about. But that's what you've done. You capture the essence of your life stories, the ups and downs, and you realize that the only pathway up or out of whatever the box is that we put ourselves in from whatever life experience, the only way is to yield, is surrender. But 9 out of 10 of us are clueless about that. And that's your life's work. This is what you're helping people with, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. Because what I found is that once you let go, the world opens up to you. So, for example, when I lost my house, right? I live in a nice suburb in the Pacific Northwest outside of Seattle. My daughter goes to a really good school. And there was this road I never turned down, but I needed to look for an apartment for us. So literally there was a sign on the side of the road that said the name of the apartment. And I said to my daughter, have you ever heard of it? She said, no. I came home, I looked it up. We got back into the car. We drove there. It was the road that I had never taken, Robert Frost. And I turned down it, and it was this beautiful complex with rolling hills. It's huge. Rolling hills and trees, and there's like ponds, and there's like 3 pools, a sauna. And I said to my daughter, oh my gosh, did you know this was here? And she's like, oh yeah, this is where a lot of my friends live. So I was able to secure an apartment here, and we've been here ever since. And she's had the community that she needed by having friends, and we have great outdoor activities. We were able to get a dog. Long story short, had I not given up the house and kept going, I'm going to keep this house because you know what? I got it from my ex-husband. Ha ha. Yeah, I showed him.
Show him.
I showed him. And had I not let that go, I wouldn't be here. And I don't know if folks believe in the whole angel number thing, but I do. And the angel numbers were here to direct me, right? And I saw that and I was like, there's something to this. And then also letting go of negative beliefs about myself, right? There's a gazillion books and shows and Oprahs about how you let go. But when you really realize that most of the stuff that you're worried about or thinking about is all in your head, and most people really are only focused about their story. I think it's Don Miguel Ruiz who says that, you know, everyone's dreaming their own dream. And that's powerful because you can dream your own dream and you can dream again. If you let go, again, of those beliefs that you had, the world can open up to you.
Yeah. And, you know, one of the things that I love about what you're sharing with people today is, and this is one of several shows that you will be doing, where people will be able to, how should I say it, make the kinds of changes in their lives that will last. Because it's one thing for us at some point in time in our lives to have sort of this epiphany about, dang, am I doing that again? Versus an understanding, dang, I'm doing that again. Oh, but wait, I learned how to get out of this from Brittany. And so that's really where we are, because I want to ask you this question. You have a technical background?
Yes, I do.
And here you are. You have the evolutionary stamina that I talk about with my life, you talk about with your life. But we are now in a fast-paced world. My friend texted me today and said to me, Pat, are you all going to do anything about pride, about the LGBTQ community? And they said, this is my friend up in Boston. And she's like, dude, it's like the 50th anniversary in Boston. And we're not taking a moment to breathe about that. And I thought for a minute, that is so true. That is so true. And I think when we think about COVID-19, and we have become completely absorbed with it for a very good reason, but there are more changes going on. How do you talk about surrender versus enoughness? And what I mean by that is I've gotten to places in my life, Brittany, where I'm not sure if surrender came before or after I came to the point and said, I am so done with what's going on. I'm going to do something about it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's about, for me, I think most folks have that I'm going to fix it mentality because of our fast-paced world, the male-dominated energy, right? Primarily do, right? Because we have to do something, right? And I think there's a quote by Oprah. She's like, well, people always want to do something, but what are you going to do, right? What are you doing, right?
Yeah.
So with surrender, you really don't have to do anything. It's a beingness, right? And I think that's where potentially you're coming with enoughness. It's that if you just take a breath, become present to the moment, and just realize, I don't have to do anything, right? For people, surrender is waving the white flag and, I've given up. No, you're giving out, right? Just drop it, and let it just ease out of your life. So you have nothing to do. The things themselves will go away. And what you're left with is your enoughness.
It's a big lesson. It's a big lesson. I want to go back to your reference to Don Miguel for a minute. Don Miguel, for those of you out there that may or may not know who Don Miguel Ruiz is, Don Miguel was one of the first people in my X amount of years doing the show that handed me a book, a very small book. I've interviewed him and his sons a lot of times, but he handed me a book, and it's the first book to this day I struggle with actually doing those 4 agreements. But you mentioned him before, and I want to ask you, I want to go back to that.
Sure.
What influence did his work have?
Oh,
I know, right?
That's a heavy question.
I know, but I had to ask it because the fact that you mentioned him to me says that you were part of the journey that he helps people go on.
I think it comes back when he says that, people are dreaming their own dreams, brought me back to, again, that, mother wit that we were talking about. And something that the women in my family said is that if I was ever upset about, something happening with my friends or the family, my mother would always say, nobody is studying you. And again, it was one of those, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know what this means. But basically, it's nobody is really thinking about you as much as they're thinking about themselves, right? And that's what I got from that statement of, people are dreaming their own dreams, right? And you're not a player in that, so don't take anything personally. And that's when I got that, right? People had said for years in business and in personal relationship, don't take things so personally. And I'm like, but how could I not? Because it's about me, right? Because we always think about ourselves. But to not take things personally is, oh, they're reacting from their stuff, right? That could have nothing to do with me. I could have triggered them, or the situation triggered them. And while it's somewhat painful, that's my stuff. So I should go off and take care of that, right?
Yeah.
And that was super powerful for me. And that's when I got, at the tender age of 50, what my mother was trying to tell me when I was 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what? I'm a little slow with that too. I'm not kidding. One of the most wonderful things that I've done as a result of my recovery is this. You know what? Let's go to a short break. When we come back, there are some things that we have the ability to do that Surrender helps us do, that it helps us heal. When we come back from break, we're going to talk a little bit about how surrender gets us to a place of humility that can heal the deepest, deepest wounds. When we come back, we're going to talk with Brittany about that. Everybody, we'll be right back.
All the stars will tell the story.
Are you meeting your sales goals? Or maybe your business plan could use a dose of the divine. Tune in to Divinely Driven Results with faith-based business coach Elise Smith on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Coach Elise Smith helps listeners get unstuck from their business plateau and become empowered through divine guidance. Build up belief in yourself and your dreams, and learn business strategies that work for you for real lasting results. Learn more by visiting www.divinelydrivenresults.com.
Are you ready to invest in your best self? Join Sabrina Wright as she shares practical tools for creating joy and balance in your life every single day. Sabrina is here to help you become your greatest advocate and empower you to make decisions that will help you learn to live your best life. Live the good life, connecting your physical and spiritual self with Sabrina Wright. Every second Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
What would you do with the power of community? How do you create your own rituals? Tune in to Living Your Gifts with me, Susan Huff, Ancient Applications for Modern Times, the second Wednesday of each month on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Our lives begin with the stories we are told and the stories we tell ourselves. Storytelling is the key. To learn more about me, visit livingyourgifts.com. That's livingyourgifts.com.
Did you know that all of the shows on the Transformation Radio Network are available as podcasts to stream or download?
Really?
Check us out. Go to transformationradio.fm. We have business shows, spiritual shows, energy healing shows, and pretty much everything in between. Something for everyone, guaranteed to inspire, educate, and transform. We are transforming the world, one listener at a time.
Sometimes being human has its challenges. Our physical health falters, our spirits sag, our dreams don't immediately come to fruition. Welcome to the power of Maximum Medicine Radio. Join me, Doc Martin, in conversations that will blow your mind about healing. In our hit show, Doc Martin addresses the scientific with bridging to the mystical approaches to give you a new narrative about maximum medicine. In this live call-in show, we will journey into the extraordinary genius of the human body and talk about other beliefs that impact being your multidimensional self. We seek the seen and the unseen and explore the earthbound and the otherworldly, all with the purpose of calling forth the maximum you. To learn more about Doc Martin and Maximum Medicine, visit www.sharonmartinmd.com.
Yeah, everybody, welcome back. It's so great to have you tune us in and turn us on. For more information about me, go over to thedrpatshow.com. Very excited to give you guys like a heads up. You're going to see us start to make some changes moderately at first to our website. And in a couple of months, every single channel, every single website will still be fueled by the same technology, but we'll have a totally different look. We're excited about that. So for today, just hop over to thedrpatshow.com. And pretty soon you're going to start to see some other things that are changing with our app. Also, for Brittany today, Brittany, what is the best way for people to find out more about you and get a hold of you?
Sure. It's www.miles2go.com. There you can read my blog, see radio page, be able to book one-on-one sessions with me or packages.
Awesome. So for those of you out there, we're talking about today the power of surrender with Brittany. And, you know, we talked about, you know, you shared your story, Brittany, of what it was like, some of the challenges that you overcame. You talked about what surrender means to you. Now let's talk about what we've learned in the how-to. Because see, this is where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. This is where in my life, I got that straw that, you know, the straw that breaks the camel's back, right? That that one last thing that just, oopsie, crashing and burning.
Yeah.
So what have you learned about how to surrender?
For me, I think I call it accidental Buddhism. It's all stuff that I knew, but I focus on staying in the present moment, the breath, and stillness. So one thing that I try to focus on is, again, staying in that present moment, because that's all that we have. If you're focusing on the past and going in the future, those things don't exist yet, right? And that's where you have anxiety and worry, right? I could worry about what happened at my birthday party in 1975, or I could worry about where is my daughter going to college in 2025. Neither one helps me, right? All it's going to do is create this horror story in my brain, which is going to cause me to hold on to so many things, so many thoughts and beliefs, and, you know, make up stories about people, when all I have to do is just relax. Those things will take care of themselves. And that's where you have the most power, by staying in the present moment.
Yeah. So one of the things I want to ask you about is, like, The way that it was described to me, it's like a boiling point, right? There's a point that happens when you realize that whatever you've been doing, whatever control of your will you think you have, whatever management of situations outside of your control you think you're doing, there's something that happens and the vision in front of you becomes very clear about the illusion of all of that. And it may just be a fleeting moment, Brittany. It may be a nanosecond in time where we have to make that acknowledgement and acceptance. What does that take?
I think it takes for most people to get that there is a veil of illusion and you can let that go. It's usually something that is big to you, right? For me, it was losing my house and realizing, oh my God, I don't have to hold on to that. And then finding out about different levels of betrayal and like, oh, okay, oh my God, that's that, right? It's allowing you to realize that you don't have control, right? So it's like, I was going to say, it's, you are realizing that nothing that you are doing is powered by you. It's something outside of you, right? And if you just let yourself be, things will be. So it goes back to that Oprah saying, what are you doing, right? You don't have to do anymore, right? And you get into a place of ease of, wow, I don't have to do anymore. And you get up into a place of, wow, I can relax. I can take a breath. And as you start to breathe, you start to get that oxygen moving through your body, because most of us hold our breath most of the time, all day long. You start to have a different picture in your head of like, oh, there are other possibilities. Once you step back.
What I want to ask you about is the degree by which we think that there is a magic formula about getting it right. And one of the things I've learned about surrender in my own life, and one of the misunderstandings about surrender, which I want to talk with you about, the greatest misunderstanding that I had, or let's say it, the paradigm that I had about surrender, the belief that I had about surrender across my life, by the way, all through my life, was that the act of surrendering or yielding was a sign of weakness. Well, I'm sitting here today to tell everybody that is so far from the truth. You can't even imagine the power that it has. But isn't that an illusion that we formulate? And yet, have you discovered the power of surrender and the strength that comes from that?
Right. I agree with you, because most people think it's waving the white flag, it's giving up. But as you said, it takes an incredible amount of strength, because the strength comes from doing something different, right? Or believing something different, or allowing something. Probably that's the best way to say it. Allowing something different to happen, right? It's the openness, right? I think going back to, we're talking about the harder New Yorker outer shield and the softer inner heart. By letting the shield come down and melt away, you can get to your heart, which is where life begins. Our brains take us many different places, and that's where we're like, oh my God, right? We all run the permutations and different cycles and how we're going to game the system and how we're going to run things. That's where the pain and the resistance and the awfulness happens. But once you let all of that go, just let it sink down, right? And you have that openness and allow, your heart will never fail you, because your heart knows exactly what you need to do and where you need to go.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about this for 1 second, because I want to add a little comment about that. A lot of times for me, you're absolutely right about my heart knew that. That doesn't mean that that next step you take, that next decision, Brittany, right, is not a hard one. It might be simple. See, some of this can seem simple, step one, step two. It doesn't mean it's not hard, right? And I think the hardest decisions I've ever made in my life were the ones where I had that awakening, where I was in that place you just described. And sometimes you have to choose a pathway that maybe everybody else around you doesn't get, don't understand, but it's like, yep, that's going to be my pathway. I mean, that's what happened to me. The minute I started to buy airtime, like in 2003, and do this thing, pay for airtime and build a show. And I mean, I never looked back, but everybody around me looked at me like she has lost her mind. You know, here she is, she could have the pick of the crop for any job she wants. You know, she's coming off a doctorate that, you know, most people would die to get her in. And I'm like, oh no, I can't. I'm not talking about this anymore. I'm not doing it anymore. And I dial the wrong phone number and I find my life's passion. Isn't it true though, as well? Sometimes you have to make decisions that your heart is all in about, but nobody else is taking that ride with you.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's going on with me right now, where I say I'm just being guided by spirit. I had to leave my corporate job to take care of my daughter. She's had some serious issues with mental illness, and I didn't know what I was going to do. Everyone's like, well, what are you going to do? How is this going to work? And how are you going to pay for this? And how are you going to pay for that? And I said, the money will come when it needs to. Things will show up when they need to. What are you going to do next? I don't know, right? All I know now is that I'm supposed to be focused on my daughter, right? When the next thing comes and shows up, I will do that. And the next thing did come and show up. Was I uncomfortable during that period? Was I trying to do some stuff? Yeah. I mean, of course, you know, I say, oh yeah, I've surrendered. I didn't realize once I started this path that this was like an ongoing thing. I thought I was done, but every day you have something and there's always something in your life, right? But by following your heart, once you open up to it, it takes you everywhere you need to be. And we have an abundant universe. We're taught that through capitalism, that, you know, there are limited resources. You have to fight for those resources, and you don't, because there's enough for everybody, right? You just have to trust and believe. And once you get into that place of allowing that surrender opens up for you, you'll start to see the world shift around you, and the things that you thought you couldn't have, you can have better than what you thought, because the universe wants to provide something better than what your little idea was.
I want to take a short break. When we come back, I want to talk with you about, having said all this, how has all of it catapulted you to your next move, which we're going to talk about when we come back, Brittany. Brittany's next move. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to tap into the healer within? Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. Did you know the real doctor is the source that lives within you, that heals within you minute by minute every day? The healer within is the innate intelligence of the human body. When we cut our hand with a piece of glass, we don't have to command the body to close the wound and grow new skin. It knows how to heal itself. We do have to nourish the skin by disinfecting it and remove the glass, or it cannot heal. The innate healer relies upon us to assist in this healing process. Our role is to identify its needs, provide the substances required for the healing, and remove the obstacle. Contact us to achieve optimal health at 888-777-4232. That's 888-777-4232. And visit us at maryjanemack.com.
What we've been taught and told is not all there is. Life is all about energy, and the energy you feel is real. Tune into the Energy Paradigm each month on TransformationTalkRadio.com with Dr. Vic. The energy paradigm is an eye-opening, mind-shifting, transformative, and earth-shattering way to live, work, and do business that will enable you to unlock your magic every day. Visit theenergyparadigm.com.
It's time to shake out your money-making truth on Soul Wisdom Abundance with Jennifer Bloom, creating wealth from spiritual health on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This hit show is more than your roadmap to success. It's your compass to abundance through joy and ease. Jennifer Bloom teaches you about the soul's relationship to money and wealth and how improving that relationship serves both you and the world. Learn more at jenniferbloom.com.
Hi, this is Kimberly Carlson, and I would love for you to tune into All In Healing Radio, where together we will begin to experience health, happiness, and harmony in all areas and aspects of life. Join us every first Tuesday of the month at 11 a.m. on TransformationTalkRadio.com. All In Healing will help you release layers of negative beliefs and energies for radiant health, deep joy, and greater abundance. Visit me at KimberlyCarlson.com.
Step into your highest potential and tune into embodying your higher self. Tools for Conscious Living with Michelle Chempaka. You can listen on TransformationTalkRadio.com or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Michelle is an energy healer, intuitive, and shamanic practitioner dedicated to helping you heal and transform your life. For more information about sessions, coaching, and upcoming workshops and retreats, visit spiritweaverjourneys.com.
Invisible in the street, compelled into the night, victorious in defeat. I surrender, I surrender.
Wow. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you, Benny. Thanks for the picks. Welcome back, everybody. I'm really excited to have the opportunity to introduce all of you to Brittany Miles. And the reason I'm excited about it, because I've gotten to work with her here in the past couple of weeks, and I know what she's doing. I know what she's going to be doing, and how exciting it is to have her become now a change agent, a healer, you know, somebody that is going to be out in the world to help all of us understand the power and potentiality of who we are and what we have and what to do with it. Brittany, look, you are on now the next leg of your journey, the next one. Excited. Tell us what that's about.
Well, I'm going to be hosting my own show here, Miles to Go, with Brittany Miles, How to Lose to Gain It All. It's going to be launching next Wednesday, 6/24 at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to be talking about surrender. First off, we're going to be talking about how I got here, fleshing out a little bit more about my story and going into a deeper dive. And some of the key lessons that I learned around being present, how important the breath is, and then also how important stillness helps us to arrive to our next place, right? Once we get that allowing opened, you know, how do we move forward? Like we were saying, you know, like, how do I get to that next step? What's next for me?
So what excites you most about the show?
I'm excited that I'm excited that you found me. And the fact that I had just put up my website and I get this email and I was like, wow, didn't know who you were, and that you found me and you're giving me this platform. And by having this platform, I'm able to share worldwide what I went through, right? Sharing my story, sharing my heartaches, sharing, you know, my joys and my passion. My passion is helping people and helping them becoming the best people that they can be. And by helping them see if they just let things go, life can do a 180 and be something better than they even thought it could be.
When I think about this, I often think about where I was at the moment I dialed that wrong phone number in my life. And I was excited about something. A future, a vision. Do you mind giving us a sneak peek at how you see your vision now for yourself and your work? how you see that, you know, what you see is your role to help other people. Give us a sneak peek of that, almost like a little movie trailer.
Well, I see myself with the platform building a community of like-minded folks who see the power in letting go and letting things be and allowing them to be what they're going to be, right? And using this place as a way to share that message in mass, right? So that we can help and heal people on a grand scale. I love the idea of working with folks one-on-one, but my ongoing thought is that I'd like to host retreats where we could spend time and do some deep dives and have sessions where we can really go down to the depths, right? Where people can feel supported by the group and by myself and other folks in the team that I'm going to be building. So I also see myself writing a book, part memoir, part recipe book, if you will, of how I got to where I was and how you can move your life forward. And I see that as a multi-part thing. And hopefully one day there could be a TV show. You never know.
And, you know, this is really why I ask you the question, because, you know, this is the time, right? It's hard to imagine that, you know, people are really struggling to make ends meet. Mm-hmm. And I hope that in the work that we do is we can keep people inspired to stay with, you know, the energy of hope in action. You know, to really know that, of course, we're not in denial about what's happening in the world. You know, we see it. We see what's happening on the streets. I mean, anybody that lives in Seattle, most people around the world don't understand what autonomous is, and, you know, are looking at this autonomous zone and they just don't know what to make of it. Clearly, they don't know what to make of the mayor. And let's just say they just don't know what to make of people having a block party. But this is the time to let the, you know, let the embers of a fire that once was ignite again. And I think that's what you're also here to say and help others with.
I would say,
go ahead.
Continue. I was going to say, I think 2020 has been the biggest point of surrender. You had to give up, like, your thoughts about your job, how your children were going to be educated, what health looks like and means to you, you know, who your neighbors are, whether they want to wear a mask or not, you know, what is this, as you're saying, like, Chaz, it's still Chaz? Well, we'll call it the autonomous zone. Like, what does that look like, right? Because you had to give up everything that you believe to be quote unquote normal, right? And just live with allowing what is to be and adapting to that. And some people are, and some people aren't. But it's a great time, and the energy is ripe for allowing, right? Some things you won't want to allow, but there's a lot where you can open up and just accept and see where the wave takes you. And everyone can ride the wave. Everybody, we're all in this together. We all are surfing together.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so excited for your show. Please give out your website again. And then one last question. I want to know your personal message. What do you want to leave us with?
Well, the website is miles2 to go coaching.com. My personal message is, by surrendering, allowing what is to be, you have freedom. Most of us are locked in the cage of our minds and the world. But once you step back, take a breath, get still, stay in that present moment, you have freedom. And I think that's what all of us want.
Yeah, I agree. Wow. Brittany, thank you so much. Thank you. Please let folks know again when you start your show.
Thank you for having me today, Pat. This has been a blast. We're starting next Wednesday, June 24th, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, and it's Miles to Go with Brittany Miles, How to Lose to Gain It All.
Awesome, Brittany Miles. I'm Dr. Pat. You all out there, listen.
Please. It's going to be a...
I want to say this. If there's one thing we could learn to do in this day and age, it's not just listen, but it's listen to understand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, remember that 7 habits of highly effective people, the one that most people could not get. Listen to understand. That is what is finally happening now. Even if it's a teeny weeny bit, listening to understand. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you so much. Thank you, Benny. Thank you, Olivia. And thanks to all of you out there. And I just want to say, I was asked to go down to speak in the autonomous zone. They changed it, so I didn't go to speak. One of our listeners actually called. I will let you all know the details of when they're going to let me get out there and hand me a microphone. Yahoo for us. We'll see you next time.
The views expressed on this program are those of